Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we are 1 minute early, but that's okay. Hey Fiend, do me a favor after this, or tomorrow or whatever. Hit me up, please. I want to talk to you about something. Um, how's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody is as well. And we have a bunch of sharpening topics we're going to talk about, because the work sharp. I did the work sharp video on the stones, and there was a lot of questions that I realized I did not hit good enough. So I want to go over some of those things, and if anybody has any questions or anything, they can ask it. We'll talk about it, or if anybody has any subjects or topics they want to talk about, we'll make sure we hit those. We'll just give it another minute or so for people to kind of come in here. Fiend, I don't know. Okay, just making sure you seen or you heard me. Your live streams are already awesome, Mike. No, they'll be even better. Yeah, he's got StreamYard now, guys. So his live streams are definitely going to go up a notch. StreamYard, it does benefit you in so many ways. It makes it to where you can use YouTube, which we have a knife sale here going on here in a second. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But if not for StreamYard, I wouldn't be able to pull it up and show you guys the knives or the person's Instagram and all that stuff. So it just benefits you so much. And then you can have, a person on with you where you can see them and talk to them, and it makes so much easier. And with the names and everything, you can see the time. There's just so many benefits to it. And it also has like a whole bunch of other features you can use. I don't use them, but in the future I might. Let me go down. I don't know why this chat's always later than this one. Yeah, I did the giveaway today and was able to show them exactly what I was doing without trying to fill my screen. Right. It's so nice having the StreamYard. It's definitely one investment for the channel that I'm happy about. Because some investments kind of flop. Like I just invested in which it might be a poor investment, guys, but I just invested in a grinder to do hollow grinds. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to try doing some regrinds. I don't, it's not like I plan on being perfect, my first hollow grind or anything, but you got to start somewhere. So I'm going to practice on some old beater knives I have and see if it's worth getting into, if I feel like I can pick it up pretty quickly or not. And if I can, then maybe I can offer that service in the future. But I have the grinder on the way right now, 10-inch wheel. Got it for a pretty good deal though. Pretty happy about it. We'll see how it goes. I got a Tucson TS 305 on the way. Pretty psyched about that one. It's another Mazwan design. Mazwan Mokhtar, in my opinion, with the Tucsons are I hate to say it like this because there are so many other designs from Night Morning, Jelly Jerry, Wong that are amazing. But it seems like with the other guys, you got amazing knives from them and then a couple that are okay. Mazwan's designs just seem like the build quality is always top notch. So, like, if you were going to ask me which designer was the best to get into, I would say Mazwan Mokhtar. Now, not my favorite Tucson right now is a Jelly Jerry, though. So, but it just seems like his build quality is always really good. I'm not a big fan of his clips, but I'll say this though, man, I'm coming around to them because he does the titanium ball clips, which I'm not a big fan of, but of most recently, the last 3 I've tried have been okay. It's just there was a couple there that, man, they were just so tight. They shred your pockets like crazy. So for the people that are just getting into this chat, we are going to be talking a little bit about the WorkSharp precision guided sharpener and the attachment. I want to answer a bunch of questions that have been pretty much commonly asked ever since the video, that I think would be a good time to just do it live so I can answer any questions. I have a bunch of them written down, so I'll probably hit on some of the questions if you guys have any. And if there's any other subjects you guys want to talk about, we can continue it and, talk about these other subjects. We also have a knife sale going on here in a minute. I'm not selling the knives, but somebody else is, and I'll just send you to him, but I'll show you what he's got. So let's just get right in. What do we got? 32 people. All right, let's just get right into it. So, excuse me. With the WorkSharp. Okay. So the first thing was about the angles. Okay. So with the angle, when I said that about the angle, me being at the number on the device was at 30 degrees, but I said it was more like 17 degrees. Okay. So if you change the knife, that's going to change. And the reason why it's different is because the stone is a different size than the original one that went with the device. So the angle is going to change. So what I would recommend anybody to do, if you're not good at angles, then get an angle finder. If you look in the description of that video, I put an angle finder in there. They're like $22 or something, but it's digital, and you would just, it's just a little box, and you would just set it right on top of here. Right on top of here. It's magnetic, but this is aluminum. So you could set it on here, on the rod. They have the V grind ones where you can set it on the rod, but the angle will be off if you set it on the rod because the stone is going to be so thick. So I would say just set it right on top of here. And just get close. Now, it's going to be different probably for, like I said, different knives, because they're different lengths and everything, different widths of the blades. But the angle finder is going to be your best bet. Now, I personally use these little, but it's different for me. Hey, Joseph. Let's kick this off. Let's kick this off properly. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the donation. That's awesome, man. Thank you. Yeah, way to kick it off. I use these little angle finders like this, but now these are not easy to use, and it just has each angle in here, and you have to put the edge in there. They're finicky though. They're not easy to use. And it took me a long time to get good at the angles. I can basically look at it now and tell you about what the angle is. Obviously, I'm not going to be perfect. But if I know the thickness behind the edge and I see the edge bevel, I'm pretty good at telling you about what the angle is. And if I feel the edge and I can feel about how thick it is, I can tell you about the angle. But a lot of people, and it took me a long time to get good at that. So it's not like I was good at that or anything. That's after sharpening thousands of knives. So it does take a while to get used to knowing an angle. And when you freehand, you're mostly eyeballing the angle. So it's not like I know the measurement on my thumb where the angle is, and that's where I get like when I know exactly what angle it is. But in many cases, I'm eyeballing it, right? So, but with the device, you can get a perfect angle even with this new attachment if you just get an angle finder. Then you won't have to rely on the number on here, which is going to be different because it's a different attachment. The attachment's not the same as the stock. So if you get an angle finder, you'll be able to know exactly what your angle is, for each side. So next thing. And like I said, I put it in the description of the video that I did on the attachment. Next thing, the difference in the stone series. Jared needs to shave. Let's see how good his edges really are. I've shaved a few times with my edges. A few times. Or you could use your phone if you have an iPhone. Like I said, I'll wait. Jared is still caveman. He doesn't have one. No, I use Android, but I'll be honest, I'm not sure how accurate those are. I've seen some people use things like that and them be kind of off. Maybe they're good. I don't know. Kara's got an iPhone. I don't use it, so I'm sure maybe it works great. I don't know. Thanks. It's an addiction. 1983. Thanks, bud. I appreciate that, man. I can legally own no TF in New York if I have a hunting and fishing license. I can't find anyone who will ship here. Where can I get one? That's a tough one because there's a lot of places that they just won't ship it. So what you want to do is you order it to somebody else's address and have them ship it to you. That's how you do it. And I'm not telling you how to do anything, but I'm just saying if if you wanted to do something like that and you knew somebody who maybe needed to do something like that, they might tell you to do something like that. So difference in the stones. So there's the dog series stones. I can't remember the names of them. Hey, Mike, here you go. Go buy a decent phone. I got the best Android out there, and it has the best camera, the best. Better than iPhone. That's why I got it, actually. It was because its camera's so good. This thing's a beast. Thank you for the donation, Mike. What was I talking? Oh, yeah. Dog series stones. So there's different dog series stones. Okay. So these are the wide ones. Then there's the more narrower ones. Okay. So either one will work just fine for this device. Now, one thing with it, and we're going to get to this about the play, how it kind of has a little bit of play in the parts, and the edges can be inconsistent. Well, with these stones, it makes it more consistent. And it's because it's touching a wider area of the blade rather than a little tiny, skinny, narrow point, So since you're able to basically push the edge down all in like a bigger surface area, it makes it way more consistent. Even if you have the ones that are a little thinner than this, you'll still get the same result. And in some cases, these might be just a little too thick, wide, depending on how, small the blade is. Or, just maybe your sight, right? Because it is so wide. But for the most part, these are going to work really good, or the other ones. Now, the Scorpion series have the thick resin on the Neeves stone. So this is 1 millimeter, right? These dog series, I forget the names of them. There's whatever dog, and then the regular dog, and then like the Scorpions. So the Scorpions, though, have 2 millimeter thick resin on them. So they're going to be a bit thicker than these ones. So they'll last longer. They'll also be a little bit more expensive, most likely, but they won't be as wide as these ones. Either way you go, it doesn't matter. They're both going to work great. If you get the Scorpions, they'll last a little bit longer. If you get the other ones that are the same thickness, but just not as wide, they'll also work just as good. Do you know the phone? Wait, listen, do you know the phone you would give your great grandmother so that she doesn't get lost in the mall? Do you know the phone you would give your great grandmother so that she doesn't get lost in the mall? No, to be honest, my great grandmother's passed away, but if she was alive, she wouldn't know how to use one of these damn phones. Probably a flip phone. Oh, you have to read the previous one first. I guess I'm missing it. He's lying. He doesn't have an Android. He has one of the big fat button phones. Yeah, I got you guys remember the old Nextels? I used to have those. They were like the size of a brick. I used to love those things. I had the contractor edition one you could throw against a wall and it wouldn't break. Anyways, Stas is here. I didn't see him. What's up, Stasa? He made it on time. Shit. Normally he tries to get in here right when we're leaving. On purpose, of course. I'm just joking. Okay, next thing. So Difference in dog series. Doesn't matter which one you get, as long as they're 4 inches, right? That they'll work for the device, and they'll work great for the device, no matter which edition you get, whether it's the Scorpions or the dog or the other dog, because there's 2 different kinds of dog series. Devin O, thanks for all the help on Instagram with my Trevor Burger and with the sharpening stones and all of that. Appreciate you taking the time to help me out. Man, I appreciate the donation, man. No, thank you. I appreciate you. Very much. Yes, you did. We'll be talking about that here in just a minute. I already gave people a heads up. Okay, so next thing. Movement. Okay, the movement, right? Remember, if you guys don't remember, when I originally did the first video of this with the regular stone, this has a little bit of movement, right? Because it's plastic. And then the stone had some movement in the stone because it's held in by like just the bar and a detent. So it had play. Majority of the play came from the stone, not from the device. So with this, that takes out like 80% of the movement. So the inconsistencies that you get in the edges from it moving from pressure, like if you had light pressure, then heavier pressure, and light pressure and heavier pressure, it's hard to do the exact same pressure the whole time. And even if you do, it's still moving. So with this, it takes out, with this attachment, it takes out like 80% of the movement. Now, when you add a wider stone to it as well, it also helps take away the movement. So the little bit of movement you get in this guy, it's not like the edges are very consistent. I've done a couple knives now just to be positive, and the edges were extremely consistent. And it has to do with the stone being wider. And I'm not saying that you have to get these really wide the extra wide dog series. I'm saying just because it's wider than the original stone, which is only like this wide, because that thing is so skinny, it's like pinpointing, just a little tiny spot on the edge. And it makes it where the pressure is all over the place. When it's wide like this, you're hitting a bigger surface area. So it makes it far, far more consistent, like hands down. And for anybody in the future, if you find your reprofiling knives, chipping, edges or whatever, and you're wanting to be able to get through that steel fast, you can always go and order a very, very low grit diamond plate and use it just for reprofiling. They have them in 4-inch stones for these. You can get like a 50 grit or 100 grit, and that will make you just chew through the steel to reprofile fast. Now, once you get to your next stone, say if it's the 220 or 240, whatever it is, what is it? I can't hardly see these. Problem with these, man, is they start getting corrosion right there pretty quick. I got the F100. Okay, so if you get the F100, this one's the most aggressive, I think, or one of the most aggressive. Anyways, my point is that when you get to your Neeves stones, you're going to want to make sure you get all the scratch out, or the 240, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Just use that stone to make sure you cover that aggressive stone with that new scratch pattern, because if you move on to the next stone, the finer you get, the harder it will be to get that scratch pattern out. The first stone is going to have the most aggressive scratches. MC, great content, bro. Keep it up. Thank you, man. Thank you for the donation. That's awesome. Thank you. You guys are awesome, man. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So the scratch pattern, though, it gets so deep that my mom's in here. I didn't see her. I'll just say, hey, Mom. I don't see. Oh, there she is. There's my mama. Hey, Mom. I'm doing good. So when you start with a very low diamond grit, especially if it's a diamond plate, not talking about Neeves diamonds, I'm talking about like just regular diamond plates at like 50 to 100 grit, it is far more aggressive than even these. So you're going to want to get that scratch pattern out. Otherwise, the higher you move up in grit, you will see those scratches shining through. So just make sure you get rid of them. It's not going to take that much. Once you reprofile, it'll be very easy to get that scratch pattern out. It's just reprofiling. That's the longest part. Remember, you spend the most time on your first stone. Even sometimes people will want to like just go through the stones. Like they'll be like, man, let me just flip stones, man. I've been on the stone for so damn long. And you'll be like getting frustrated. Like, why is it taking so long? Just relax and stick with it. Because that first stone is the longest you're going to be on a stone is on the first one. All the other ones, if you use the first one, all the other ones, you will go through them very quickly. It just takes the time to profile, to get the nicks out, the scratches, to lay the edge back, whatever you're going to do. Now, if you're following the exact same angle as what was on the edge, then yeah, it's going to go a lot faster. But if you're reprofiling a knife from 20 degrees down to 15 degrees or 17 degrees, or if there's a chip tip or chips in the edge that you have to get out or whatever, it's going to take some time from the first stone. Put my first hit out in 20 years. You put your first hit out in 20 years. Well, you shouldn't be saying that in the chat, Casper. You should be getting ghost. Yes, please smash that like button. The Rockstead, the mythical Rockstead, he retired. What do we have here? How about this? Let's pull up what everybody's carrying. Talk about what everybody's carried, and then we'll move on to the next subject. Because I only have a couple more topics on this, and then we'll get into the next parts of this this live. Today, I'm carrying the Tucson TS 243, I think it is. Yes, 243 carbon fiber, which is actually going to be a little part of one of today's knife subjects we're going to talk about. This is a chunker. It is a thick boy. And I already said this earlier before everybody was in here, but I got the Tucson 305 on the way. Looks pretty sweet. What else is everybody carrying? Mike's got the Sencut Actium. What a great knife, man. That fucking Actium, such a nice knife, man. The thing has a nice deep hollow grind, super duper good action, great slicer. It's crazy how good it is. Where'd it go? Damn it, I was just about to read Breeze's comment. I'm not sure Jared even has a Rockstead anymore. He might have sold it. Probably not, though. Probably not. We Fornix. Oh, Ryan's got the Pagos in the pocket, man. I'd pull it out and show everybody, but it's over there, right next to the Rockstead. Seems logical was carrying the Bark River North Country 2 and his Tora Blades Indian Mutiny Dewey. Man, that's a hell of a name, boy. He's carrying a kukri. And we got the Marbled Carbon Fiber Stinger. Great knife. Doesn't move anymore. Sorry, guys. Odds carrying the Leatherman Surge, Berber Dime, Cold Steel 4-Max Scout, and a Benchmade Mini Freak. He is not playing. He's ready today, boy. He's ready. First day carrying my black tie and carbon fiber Micro Evil. Wow. Oh, full tie XM, 3-inch XM. That's awesome. I was actually just playing with one just a second ago. The full tie XM, the flipper version, though. That non-flipper is really sweet. Monster's got the Gracioso, the Victorinox Tinker, and the Olight Mini Warrior. Did you... what else do we got? The Mini Adamas. That's one I haven't tried yet. I haven't tried the Adamas. No knife for me Wait, what 9 days due to TSA? Ooh, they confiscated? Is that what we're saying? Man, people go there to the airport and get those auctions and get like all kinds of knives. I've seen all kinds of videos of people just getting boxes of TSA knives. The Koenig Arius, the BGM Lanzo, and the Slicer XM18. Okay, the DUI Chira, the Twin Fuller, and Nepalese. We're actually going to be talking about an F5.5 here in just a minute, but the old micarta version. In my opinion, the sweetest version they have. Don't get me wrong. Sorry, my thing's getting all fuzzy. The brass version and the titanium version looks cool. I'm not really a big fan of the scroll work on the titanium model. I just wish if they would have did just raw titanium, I would say that's the best model. Sorry, guys, my camera is like not wanting to focus on me. A little better. Come on. There we go. But yeah, I think that micarta version is the sweetest version. The brass one, it's cool, but man, I can't imagine how heavy that fucker is. The micarta version to me is the best one. And we're going to talk about one of those here in just a minute, and one might be for sale. Okay, so conditioning stones for the Work Sharp precision guided sharpener. If you got the attachment and you got the Neeves stones, I put a link in the video also for one of those, a conditioning stone. You're gonna need one of these. So it's just there's different versions, but I put the same one like that I have in the links of the description. You just get them wet. You can get them soapy and wet, or just wet. Soapy and wet usually works better. And you scrub it until you don't see any steel on there. Rinse it off. That's it. You're going to have to do that every so often. And if you let them go without doing that, it will take longer. So do it more often so that you don't have to take time on it. Because if you just do them, like my Dragon series, I'll go through a knife and it'll be covered and it'll take me 15 seconds to clean it off. But if I let it go, it'll take me a couple minutes. So, you know, the longer you let it go, the more embedded the steel will get into the stone. Now, the lower the grit, the least you will have to do it. The high grit, the 5,000 grit, the 3/2 micron, the 7/5 micron, those are the ones that are going to get it the worst. Those are the ones you're going to have to clean a little more often. What's the other one? The 20/14 micron, and then up are going to be the ones you're going to have to clean the most often. The other ones, you're rarely going to have to do it. I mean, not rarely, but, you know, do it every once in a while. But the other ones you're going to have to do like every time you sharpen. How would you feel using those foreign stones as normal free? That's how I started sharpening. I don't care about it. I can sharpen freehand on one of these, no problem, honestly. Because I started like that. I literally started sharpening like this. Let me get a knife. I'm not really worried about sharpening right now. Okay. But so this is how I started off sharpening, was like this, because I could literally just go like, it's easy. I don't find no issues with it. I enjoy doing it sometimes. Sometimes I'll literally do it just because like I'll be watching a show or something and it's just easy to do. So yeah, they work just fine. That's why these are also great for on the go. Like, this is perfect if you're like out in the field camping or fishing or going on a trip or something. Throw one of these in your backpack. You don't have to take them all. Just throw one medium grit one, and then you have a honing stone, a sharpening stone, you know, and then maybe a little strop if you have one. That's why these things are really good too. These things are the shit. I love this thing. These Work Sharp Field Sharpeners, the Work Sharp Field Sharpener. These things are so awesome. And then when the plates go bad, you can buy new plates. These diamond plates are replaceable. It's magnetic. But it has the angle there for you. So if you're not good at freehanding, that's okay. You don't have to be, because it has the angle there. So you literally just set it on the angle right. Oh, here, I'll do it on this. This little pad right there is the angle. You just set it on it and you just drag it across, bring it back, set it down, drag it across, bring it back, just like that. And then even the ceramic stone has the angle on it right here. So they work so good, the strop. And then even if you're not using it to like do full sharpenings, just for honing and touching up your edge, fuck man, those things, it's so useful. Super duper useful. Same thing like with these. I use these little Lansky stones for so much. Even like for like burrs. Like say if I have a burr on a flipper tab or something, I can hit it real quick. It works great. How should I take care of those plates with one of these little stones? So there's different kinds of these stones, but if you go into the links of the video that I posted on the device, I have it. It's called a conditioning stone, and I put a link in for one. They're only a few bucks, but you want to get one of those. Now there's other things you can use, but that's probably the best bet, is just getting a conditioning stone. If you have some old Lansky aluminum oxide stones, those will work. It's basically just aluminum oxide stone. That's all it is. It's just a very aggressive aluminum oxide stone. But then like there's other kinds that are finer, and those are more for natural stones, like to create a slurry on a natural stone. You can use those, but those sometimes they'll burn up quicker, and these last a pretty long time. This is silicon carbide or whatever. Or what the hell is it called? Oh, I can't think of the name of it, but it's whatever. I put a link in for it though. That's the way you're going to want to take care of it. And you can take them up to your sink, or take them to your sink and just wash them with soap and water with a damn scrub brush anytime you want. But in the middle of sharpening, if you see that the steel is really built up on the surface, hit it with one of those with a little soap and water. Then you can just dry it off and go back to sharpening. Hit the like button, or the moderators will hunt you down and tell you the benefits of 14C28N. You don't want that. I'm loving it. I get used to it every day at work. Yo, Neeves, what's your input on 10CR15COMOV? So 10CR is, in my opinion, it's going to be very similar to OS 10. It's going to be very similar to I'm not saying it's going to be exactly, but it's going to be very similar to OS 10 or VG10, steels like that. It's going to be a great mid-grade steel. The difference between, those two steels it's going to be very, very little difference in the performance probably. Now, excuse me. Those obviously the lower the number you get, the lower in edge retention you're probably going to go. That's why I really like the 14C. Now, I did hear there was like a 20 CR a long time ago or something, but I heard it was very, very chippy. So it's Chinese VG10. There you go. Bang, bang. Stasa coming with the slam dunk. Saying exactly what I just said. Sounds like 9CR 440C, OS 10 VG10 154. Yeah, well, 154 CM and 440, they're very similar. 9CR and 440, basically the same thing. So they are, a lot of them are very similar. They just have little tiny differences. But I will say this though, like 154 CM to me, like it's weird how like some of them will take like better edges at high grits than others, and sometimes it does boil down to the heat treat. I'll be leaving on a jet plane that day, so I should be home in time. We'll see about that, Breeze. We'll see if you get here in time. Any secondary thoughts on that Boker Bombfire? Really wanted something Pena-like. Still not at the point where I can afford the Pena price. I would say that one, or the that Kaiser. That Kaiser's pretty damn sweet. The DL Orme, that thing is sweet. The Bonfire is going to be, it's longer. So That's the big difference. You know, it's a lot bigger. If you're wanting something the same size, same type of action and everything else, go with that Kaiser. It is very, very similar. You'd be surprised how similar they are. Okay, we'll be doing a live feed for a bit after you get done. So after tonight's live, if you want, head over to Mike Emler's. He's going to be going live right around the exact same time I am closing out. I agree that 154 cm is the best on that list of similar steels, VH10 second, and the rest are pretty much all the same. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think especially if we're talking about for edge retention, right? If we're talking about for edge retention, yeah, 154 cm is going to get the best edge retention out of those. I just wish 154 cm took a better high grit edge. Not saying that I hate even talking like that because my favorite edges are medium grits. It's not like my favorite edges are mirror polished edges or very high grit. I just like to have the ability, right? If I want to, but to be honest, the majority, like if you ask me to put a great edge on a knife, it's going to be probably between 600 and 1,000 grit, because that's what's going to work the best. And even if I put a mirror edge and it was razor fucking sharp, a medium grit would have still done better, you know, just as what it is. Now, depending on what you're cutting to, so let me be clear, there are going to be certain things that you would want a higher grit on if you're cutting. Certain things are just going to do a little bit better with that. I tried physical therapy for my knee, but it made it worse. It usually does at first, but then through time, that because you always feel like you got hit by a truck after physical therapy, but it's the time, and it's kind of like, you know, the old saying, walk it off, right? When you first start walking it off, it hurts like hell, but as you keep walking, you know, it gets better and better. My favorite edge is 800 grit. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like between 600 and 1,000 grit, or even 600 and 1,200 grit. That's just that perfect level of where you're going to have the most amount of bite, and you know, the most amount of bite. Basically, that's all I gotta say, because you can get some steels that have nasty sharp edges at thousands of grit, whatever, 5,000 grit, 3,000 grit, 12,000 grit, whatever, right? You can have some steels that do that, especially with a really good heat treat on certain steels. But that same steel that does really good at that high polish will also do good at the medium grit. All knives, all steels do great at a medium grit. It's the high grits that some don't do good at. And then, yes, there's going to be some steels that at a low grit, they're almost too aggressive, but still that medium grit is still that happy medium range. A sticky edge is a mean edge. Yeah, and that's kind of what I look for in an edge. I want an edge when I touch it. It's almost like fish hooks on my skin, like where I almost feel like it's like hooking my skin. That's what I like in an edge. And not all edges are going to be like that, but those are my most satisfying edges. Now, when I can get that and it's very clean through a receipt paper or whatever paper, phone book paper, or anything like that, it makes it to where it's fine enough for that, but nippy enough or sticky enough to feel really aggressive. I went for many months to PT because my knee, physical therapy, because my knee would buckle in pain and I couldn't walk in it for a week. It was buckling constantly and stopped when physical therapy released me, saying I was better for the irony. Yeah, man, that sucks about your knee, because that's one thing, man, is you got to walk, right? You got to walk, and if you're walking around and your knees are buckling, you don't want it to happen in the worst place, right? And that's where it's going to happen, like say stepping over a pothole, or, God forbid, like in a place where there's lots of people and things like that. Like that sucks. Or going downstairs, that sucks. I had my my knee pop out of socket a couple times. Oh, that was so bad. My knee literally, say if this was my knee, it went out of socket this way, and I had to snap it back in place. Oh my God. I was literally beating on it, trying to get it to go back in place. It sucked. Where's my paper? All right, next topic. Okay. Thick versus, okay, so basically what I'm talking about is thick boy knives in the handle, not the blade. So don't think of the edge being thick or the blade stock being thick. Think about the handle, okay? Thick handled knives or thin handled knives. I'd like to know what you guys prefer. Do you guys prefer amazing ergos? Because let's just be real, thin knives are not going to be as comfortable in the hand as a thick knife. It never will be. A nice thick knife, like a fixed blade. Think about a fixed blade versus, a thin little slip joint, right? A fixed blade's always going to be more comfortable in the hand than a slip joint. So thick handles that are beefy, that fill your hand, that give you the maximum amount of leverage in your cuts versus something thin, nice in the pocket, easy to carry, sleek. What do you guys prefer? Okay, we got thick, thin, not a good, thicker kinda. So we got some thins. I prefer the thinner carry than the okay. So he prefers the thinner, so having it carry really good than it feeling very comfortable in the hand. And I can see people not really caring because it just depends on the amount of pressure you push into your cuts. If you're not really forcing a knife through anything, it's not really going to matter. If you're just relying on the edge being sharp to cut the things that you cut, it's just everybody has different things they cut. That's why I'm really interested in the subject. Like my knives, like I like my oatmeal thick. Always prefer thick knives for hard use. Yeah, definitely for harder use, but just for like basic EDC, because I think that's kind of where the line is, right? It's like, do you need it to be thick for EDC? Like, yes, it's comfortable in the hand, but at what point are you pushing that knife to that limit to where you're like, I need bigger ergos or better grip? I will say this: when I pull out a knife and it's thick, I can't help but appreciate how comfortable it is. Like if I go from, say, I don't really have any thin knives right here. Oh, do I? No, not real. Okay. So if I go from like this knife, nice, thin, and sleek, to something like this, that is so much more comfortable. So I feel like I have so much more control aside from the thickness of the edge. Like just talking about the handle, like that's why I always say that Shirogorov F3R is like the most comfortable knife ever. Now this Tucson right here, this thing is a thick boy. It is really thick. However, man, does it melt in your hand. It just feels so secure. Like you couldn't pry this out of my hand. So that just means like when I'm cutting, I sometimes, and I noticed this before, this was a long time ago when I noticed this, because most of the knives I was using were just regular EDC knives, Kershaw leaks, bare knuckles, things like that. Then I wound up using the Razel, the CRKT Razel, which handle is like this, just very thick and big. And it's like holding a fixed blade. And I brought it to work. And that thing's not the thinnest behind the edge or anything like that. But holy cow, did it cut good. Just because I was so secure in the hand, because I had such good ergonomics and the pressure I could push into the cuts, it was just that much more comfortable. I guess you're right. She only loves Jarrett. I don't know what we're talking about. My main users don't actually sit in a pocket. Oh, these DTC cargo work pants have a little 2.5 tool sleeve on each side. So even carrying the folding Razel did not bug my pockets. Yeah, I'll be honest, thick knives don't bother my pockets really either. I wear jeans, so I don't really care. But there are times where it's nice carrying something slimmer. Obviously, there's always going to be good times for everything. Ergonomics is everything when you are working. Seen a lot of guys with busted up wrists in the hospital from using bad ergonomics on a tool. Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree. And I've had that where I've used even a knife or a pry bar, because pry bars are slim, and you've been using it all day, and it almost feels like it's giving you arthritis just using it. The Centurion is very comfortable. I think the Sabenza or PM2 is like the perfect thickness. Yeah, I agree. I think the Sabenza is, but I've heavy used it a couple times. And even though, like, if I was going to say for EDC, right, for EDC, yes, I would probably agree with you that it's probably about as perfect as it gets. But when I tried to hard use it, I did notice it was kind of hurting my hand. But sometimes, anything's going to hurt your hand when you're hard using it. I find Bear Grylls live bunch of dipshits. Jared, where's Kara? You know where she's at. She's right there. She's listening to you guys. It depends on the knife too, because my Norseman has thin profile, but is broad enough that it is still comfortable, even as thin as it is. I'm glad he said that, because that is so true. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier with the sheepdog. That it's thin, but it's tall. So I get like a perfect grip, and there's going to be a level of, like, if it's too thin and too tall, then it's going to feel very thin and hurt your hand. But if it's got that perfect even likeness where it's like a good thickness with a good tallness, it works really good, almost like as if you were holding like a fixed blade or something. I'm drawn to aluminum handles for some reason. I was surprised they not surprised, but they came out with the sheepdog in aluminum handles too for the non-flipper version, but it's only for the small one right now. So they only have the little one right now, but I'm sure they're going to come out with the big one eventually. What are you doing, man? Late again, I see. Late again. What up, Audible? All right, what was the next subject? All right. So this we can talk about really quick, but hold on, I'll read the chat and then I'll bring that up. The wife is home. Uh-oh. Get your ass going. Hurry up and hang up the phone. Get out of here. Used my PM2 the other day at work, hard used, and thought it was gonna break the handles the way it flexed. I've been there. It's definitely kind of scary sometimes when you are hard using something and you start feeling that level of flex and you start wondering, like, how much can this thing take? It's like, I've seen people do this, but now I'm not so sure. I'm not so confident that this thing's not going to snap and I'm not going to get an edge in the arm, or, blade's not going to chip, or the scales are just going to flex and break. Do you prefer the ones that get smaller at the end or bigger? I think it just depends, because there are times where thinner does work good because our hands do that. But then I've noticed where there's some that are thicker, and it's like, even though this is the smaller part of the hand, it's like you get, like, because when you squeeze, you notice how, like, this part of your hand is like the strongest. Like, your strongest part is like right here. And so it just seems like you get so much more leverage when you can squeeze something thick there. But if it's thin, like, say, a pencil, you can't squeeze it. It just doesn't work out. So it seems like if something's thicker on that end of the hand, it's like you can squeeze it. So it seems more comfortable. But I think it just depends on the shape and how thick or how thin. Because if it's too thin, then I'm going thick. Because too thin sometimes, especially if you have a clip on it, now the clip's going to really irritate you. And if it's too thin, then it's like trying to hang on to a pencil, you know. On some of my knives, I find it more comfortable to hold it reversed. Yeah, I mean, just depends on the knife, but like this one's like that. This one's definitely like that. It's very comfortable in either direction. Super comfortable. An Amigo that's spelled with an N. Tucson Designs usually does a good balance of that. Yeah, and I was gonna say talk about Tucson's a little bit because you know some of their knives. It's like they have some models that are really good, all right, but then they have other ones that they're so good, it starts making you look at other knives or even knives you've already purchased or knives you might plan on purchasing and start second guessing whether or not they're worth that. Because you start thinking like, holy shit, I got all this for $130. Now for basically the same build quality, the same this, the same that is like $350. And you start looking at it like, man, I can just get me another Tucson. And I'm not saying do that, and sometimes somebody else said it to me earlier. They said, you need to stop doing that so the price stops going up. You need to start saying how they're overpriced. So maybe I should start saying that. Like, man, these damn Tucsons are costing me too much money. They're starting to charge too much for them. About to order the TS269 be a use. Wait, hold on a second. About to order the TS269 because of your review and maybe a full size thumbhole sheepdog to hang out with my mini. Have a beer on me. Don't cut yourself. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate the $5. Thank you, man. Um, yes, thank you guys for all the donations, Greg, man. Thank you. There are some really fantastic Tucsons. Just got lucky on two lately myself. Yeah, it's like there are some that are just good. There are some that are great, but then there are some that are just it doesn't even make sense. Like you start thinking like that. Like I said, it starts making you look at other knives in your collection. You're like, holy shit! Like, how is this good? Like this doesn't make sense. The detent is so good, and they're so rock solid. They're locked up like a vault, and they're stupid smooth, and they have all the bells and whistles, and they're just the milling, the micro milling. It's like wow, like how is this? How did I get this for this much? And then you want to start telling people how shitty they are, so the prices go down. Aiden, don't get tendonitis. Get that right. That's what I get from. I got carpal tunnel from fucking not from sharpening, but from doing construction, and now it's bleeding on to sharpening. Thank you for the donation, man. Thank you. I gotta pull it back up. Thank you, Aiden. I appreciate it, bud. 28 people need to hit the like button. How hard is it? They can't figure out if they like the content or not. So they're holding back. They're holding back, wondering if I say something fucked up. So then they don't have to take it back. Oh. All right, where's my coffee? All right. Just got my Sharp by Designs Micro Evo Typhoon. Those things are amazing. The action is insane. Fire so hard for a 3-inch blade. Yeah, it was weird that the regular Typhoon and the Micro Typhoon, because I've tried both, the Micro had a strong detent. The Typhoon I tried had a lighter detent. I don't know. But both of them were amazing action. Either way, hands down, didn't matter. You down with Nitro V? Hey, you know me. You down with Nitro V? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with Nitro V? Everybody. CPM crewwear. I love crewwear. Crewwear takes an incredible edge. I love crewwear a lot. I need to get a knife in crewwear. I've sharpened so much of it. You'd think I'd have one. The floggings will commence without the likes. Jared, do you have Civivi bow yet? No, I do not. My friend Gavin sent me one and I love it. No, I haven't tried that one yet. I'm hoping Civivi's supposed to be sending me some stuff soon, so I'm hoping I get some pretty good shit soon. I'm supposed to have button locks and everything on the way. I'm guilty at times. Get into the conversation and slack on the like button. Damn it, Chris! I figured one of them was you. I know one of them's not Knife Sergeant. He hits the like button the second he comes in. Thanks, Knife Sergeant. um, what else are we talking about? I talked about the grinding wheel that I got coming, the 10-inch wheel for doing hollow grinds. I'm gonna start practicing some regrinds. I still am planning on sending a knife to BGM Knives to get done. Talked to him the other day, but I did order myself a regrinder, so I can do some regrinds. I'll work on them for a little while on some, some not junk knives, but knives that I'm not going to freak out about if I fuck up. And then we'll see if I am consistent. If I can do it consistently so many times in a row, then maybe I'll start offering it as a service. Custom knife addiction is more expensive than cancer treatment. I believe that. I've seen what some of these custom knife buyers spend, and holy cow. Whoo! But I've also seen what some of these custom knife makers turn knives around for. And it's blown my mind. Like, without saying any names, I know someone who was at a blade show and got a knife and turned around within an hour and sold it for like $6,000 profit. Profit. That's crazy. Therapeutic Edges in the house. What's up, bud? Definitely go check out Therapeutic Edge. Oh, where'd it go? Definitely go check his channel out. If somebody can link his channel in the description, go check out Peter and his lovely wife. This thing messing up. There we go. Knife addiction beats all other things. Why does this thing keep doing this to me? Custom knife addiction is. I already read that. I don't know why my chat's like goofing up. You know what happened to me yesterday? So I normally keep up with all my comments. That is crazy. $6,000 profit when they aren't even the crafts. Yeah, it's crazy. And the thing was that he didn't ask for that. That's what he was offered. So it's not like he went out and said, "Listen, I want to sell this now." No. The guy offered that. He went right up to him and said, "I need to have that. I'll give you this much for it." That's crazy. And the thing was that wasn't his first one. He, like the day prior or something, he did another one and made like $2,000 off of another one. So it's just when you win those lotteries and you have the opportunity to buy a knife, somebody else might have wanted to win that knife and they want it so bad that they're willing to pay enough to get it out of your hands. So they don't want to argue about it. They don't want anything. They just want to know it's theirs. So, there are those people out there, I guess when you get the money to spend, right? When you get the money to spend, there you go. But yesterday, man, I don't know what happened. I think YouTube had a whole bunch of comments that they took because like sometimes people make comments and they're not bad at all. But YouTube will say, nope. We got to review these comments first before we can give them to you. And they wind up in a spam folder, and I can go through the spam folder and I can release them. But a lot of times I don't go through my spam folder because I have so many comments that I already go through that I just don't get to the spam folder. It is what it is. Well, then yesterday, YouTube released like literally, I'm not joking either, like not even exaggerating, like 1,000 comments from months. So like 3 weeks ago comments. So comments I obviously never got to. So anybody who made a comment in the past and I didn't answer it, it wasn't me. It was YouTube holding it, and they just recently sent it in, and I am not checking those. If it's not from yesterday's video or like the past couple days, I'm not answering. I'm not answering a comment somebody asked me 6 months ago or 3 weeks ago. They probably won't even remember because it's like literally over 1,000 comments. There's no way I can get to them. So I'm just sticking with my regular order of the comments that have came in since today, yesterday, and stuff like that. Because I have like a time frame, like like every few hours I go through the comments or twice a day or something. So then I'm never backed up. But holy cow, I started going through like, how did I miss or how did I get this many comments? And I'm just scrolling like this and it's just going past. And I'm like, where is the end of this? And then I looked and seen that some of them were from like 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago. It's crazy. Better late than never. It's definitely going to be never. It's, I ain't going to be able, I can't. It's not possible. I got, like I swear, 2,000. Yeah, I go through a lot of comments. Per week, I probably answer at least 1,000 comments, at least. Which I don't mind. I don't mind that. But if you give me an extra 1,000 on top of it, and top of my normal in one day, I can't. I can't do it. I'm not that blessed. I can't type that fast. Okay, so let's go to this knife sale. So I got it pulled up right here. Now, this is the thing. 87 people in here. Okay, so there's a couple knives he's trying to sell. And if they don't sell, he's got a couple other ones that he's willing to sell. He's in here. And let me just say, one of the knives, if one of you guys don't buy it, I'll give you guys the opportunity to buy it. If one of you guys don't buy it, I might buy it. But it's Evolved EDC. I don't know if he's still in the comments. If he's in the comments, why don't you say something? So it's Evolved _ EDC. And we have his Instagram right here. Now, if you look at his Instagram here, you will notice all the way to the right, we have a Giant Mouse Ace Grand and an Urban EDC F5.5. Both of these are for sale. The Ace Grand is going for $175. He just bought it like a week ago. It's brand new. He hasn't cut nothing. He's trying to get the money up because one of his Grail knives just became available to him. So he's wanting to sell a few knives to be able to get this Grail before it leaves. So $175 is what he's selling it for. There's no patina, no nothing. It's brand new. Beautiful knife. I've always wanted one of these. If one of you guys don't buy it, I might purchase it. The F5.5, $230. Another one that I believe that one is new as well. But $230. Now that's the micarta version. In my opinion, that's the best version. We're going to scroll down just a little bit because there's a couple other knives that I'm going to show you guys that he might possibly also sell. I haven't gotten the price yet, but maybe, you guys talk about it now. You guys see the Sebenza there with the hole. We have the Sebenza 31 with the modified hole. It also has, I believe, a deep carry aftermarket clip on the other side. But that is also possibly for sale. A lot of people want to get their hands on one of them Sebenzas with a modified hole already. Oh, there's another picture. Let's see if we can pull this one up. Oh, yes, it has a deep carry clip on it. Did that come up? Yes, it did. So you guys can see it right there. It's got the cross-cut micarta inlays. Very, very nice. And he also has an Evo 2.0 that I don't know if he's going to be willing to sell or not, but he does have an Evo 2.0. So I'm not sure. He said possibly. Oh, there it is right there. Sorry. So we have the Evo 2.0 right here, and you can see it's the carbon fiber and titanium version. These things are really sweet. That is also, I do not have a price for either one of those two, but I do have a price on the first two that if you guys would like, you guys have an opportunity right now, 175 and 230 for those two. And then the other ones are a possibility. If you want to talk to him about it, go to his Instagram. Here it is, evolved underscore EDC. Go and check his Instagram out. Now, if you do not have an Instagram, if you do not have an Instagram and you want to buy one of these, you can message me and I'll get a hold of him and, you know, figure out a way for you guys to talk through email or something. So, no problem, Evolve. No problem. And like I said, you guys can possibly talk to him about those other knives if you guys go over to his Instagram. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to say the bombshell. And he also has a bombshell too. But he's trying to figure out, I think, if he sells these or not. He's trying to get this purchase, right? That's the thing. He's trying to make this purchase. So possibly the bombshell too. So if one of you guys are very interested in the bombshell, you guys seen it here. I actually still got it right here, so I can pull it up. If you're interested in what the bombshell is, it's this one right here, the top one of this picture right here. Sorry, guys. The top Spyderco right there. So if that was a knife that you guys have been interested in or something, that's a possibility too. So I want to do the Spidey hole mod. Just might need to send it to Knife Modders. Yeah, I think that Spidey hole mod is badass. To me personally, I mean, if we're all honest, in my opinion, I think that's the sweetest looking way to have a Sabenza. I think it looks sweeter than the thumb studs. Now, I don't know how good they work. Every time I see them, it seems like people are Spidey flicking them and they work great. But even if you slow roll it, right? Even if you slow roll it, having a hole a lot of times is easier to slow roll than a thumb stud because it's like the blade is gripping you rather than you gripping the blade. So I personally like having a hole to slow roll or flick. So yeah. How's Jared wanted to stop lurking and say thanks for all that you, Kara, and all the other knife weirdos out there do for the community. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Give me an L. Give me an I. Give me a K. All right, so what else did I have? So, I got a couple questions because when I did that lock bar video where I was showing how to fix light detent or a heavy detent or lock rock or lock play, I did get a couple people asking me how to fix detent lash. Now that's a tough one. And the reason why is because usually detent lash, or at least I've only seen it ever, as the detent hole being a little too big or having a little too much room for the detent ball. So the only way that I can think of to fix it is to take the detent ball out, re-tap that hole that the detent ball was in, put a new detent ball in that hole that's a little bit larger, and then also match the hole for the detent ball on the blade, for the detent hole, which is obviously a lot more work. So if you have some detent lash, if it's on a knife that you can't send it in for warranty work or anything like that, you might be shit out of luck. But is it possible to fix? Yeah. But you're going to need, a drill press, a new ceramic ball. Now, is it possible that the hole and the ball, or that the ball is just too big for the hole, and that you could just make a bigger hole for the detent ball? Not likely, because in that case, you'd probably just have an extremely light detent. So that's why detent lash kind of sucks, because it's something that you can't just easily fix. That's one reason why it sucks. Another reason is because I've seen it where it lasts forever and never gets worse, but in some cases it gets worse. Which Tucson would you recommend at the Para 2 or Freak size? The Tucson TS301, the Tucson TS223, the Tucson TS, yeah, probably those two. I would ask a question. I'd ask, you on flipper, you on thumb studs? That's what I would ask, because there's so many. You got to think there's like 300. So there's probably at least 100 of them. There's probably at least 5 that I would recommend. I just need to know if you like flippers or thumb studs better. Is it a huge pain in the wait? It is a huge pain in the ass. I've only done it once and never again. Exactly. And that's why it's like, if you have a knife that you can't do warranty work on, it's like you're going to have to call it a loss and just deal with it. And in some cases, it's more just annoying than anything, but I get it. You don't want a knife with even like this. There are these little things, right, that like just annoy us. It doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't do anything wrong, but it's just annoying to us. And it makes you like or hate that knife. It makes you look at that knife like, damn it, I hate it because of that. But sometimes it's just, it's really not that big of a deal. We get stuck on things. But I'm the same way, so I'm not talking shit, because detent lash fucking pisses me off. I hate it. Can't stand it. Can't stand you. Niche Designs is in the house. Rotating the stop pin and reassembling could possibly fix some detent lash. Never heard of that. Rotating the stop pin and reassembling could possibly fix some detent lash. Huh. Never heard of that, because when I always think of detent lash, I think of the detent ball in the hole not fitting right, and that's why it's moving in and out, because it's not locked into that detail. But I don't know. Maybe if it's not sinking into the detent hole because it's hitting the stop pin. I guess I could see that. Like, if it's hitting the stop pin and the ball is not falling into the hole completely, that makes sense. And if the stop pin was just moved a little bit, it would seat into the hole. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying now. Get to work. The damn boss is calling. It's got a regrinded hinder, doesn't have a customer service that contacts you back. Oh, that sucks. Yes. Come on, people now. Jared, your brother. Everyone get your shit together and hit that like button right now. How many likes do we have? I haven't even checked. Let's see here. 87. Oh, I guess I got it right there. 87 likes and 86 people watching. Shit, I got a little bit better ratio than who's watching. Doing pretty good. There we go. Stop pins are rarely perfectly circular. If the stop pin is slightly oval, rotating it could push the detent towards the edge of the detent hole where there's no wiggle. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I'm going to have to definitely try that. You have to drill and install a larger detent ball. Lindy and I can fix detent lash depending on the knife. Yeah, that's what I was explaining earlier, was how you have to do it, and that it winds up becoming a bigger pain than being able to just do it yourself sometimes, unless if you can do all that. Because I got a bunch of questions when I was trying to tell people how to fix light detents, heavy detents, lock rock and things like that. And I was trying to explain that that's different, and the way to fix that is a lot more complicated than adjusting a lock bar. Finally home, chilling in my bed, enjoying some Neevesknives live. Remember, guys, after this, don't forget, if you guys want to continue some knife talk, Mike Emler is going live right after I'm done. So he's going to go live. I'll be getting off at 9:30, 7:30 his time. So it'll just like transition right to his if you guys want to go over there. So I'm out of things to talk about. Besides, I had a couple quick stories that I might tell here at the end. So let's talk about what you guys want to talk about, because I didn't get a lot of subjects written down. So I don't think I have any more. So let's just shoot this shit. And like I said earlier, we talked a lot about the Work Sharp precision guided sharpener and the Neeves stones and everything. If any of you guys have any questions that I could answer better like this, ask away so that I can help out, because I know there were a lot of questions that I didn't quite answer perfectly in the video. Yes, it is. I think I got like what is it? What is it at right now? 9.91. So I got about 90 more people till we're at 10,000. 90 more people. Woo, hitting that 10K. I don't know if you guys touched on it, but those Vox 5.5s are in stock at the moment, last time I checked. I did not hit on that. Thinking about getting the McNees PM2. Is it worth the hype? The McNees PM2. Which one's is that the I don't know which one that is. Is that the Tonto one? I just thought it was called I don't know. I don't know which one that is. I can't think of it. Maybe I'm being a dumbass right now. I got a call tonight. All right, bud. Take it easy, man. I know work comes early. I think I have about 200 to go till 10K. Congratulations, Stasa, hitting that 10K. We'll be hitting the 10K probably right around the same time, which is awesome, man. Yeah. It seems like if I want to, like right now, I could totally rush to 10K by just like pushing out a few videos that I know will get a lot of subs. And I do that from time to time on purpose. Because one, I like doing that content and people like that content, and you should do the content that everybody likes to do. But sometimes you got to get like stuff done, and it's like it's the work that you want to do too, right? You want to do too, but it's not necessarily the content that grows the channel. And when you have to like spend weeks doing that, it slows the sub count down. So like I was at like 890 every 28 days or something. It was almost 1,000 every 28 days. And then now I'm down to like 600 every 28 days. So it dramatically went down. Like my sub count per 28 days. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just I could always look it up for you guys if you guys want to see a picture. How many subs does one of those videos net? Well, it just kind of depends on which one, but what it does is it'll bring traction in. It's not like that just that video will. It's that me doing a group of those videos will pull in traction, so that like say the first one might pull in 10 or 15 subs, but then if I do another one very close to that one, it'll rapidly increase it, because what'll happen is my my views will go up. Like, so your views go up and down. All right, so if I continue to do videos that get high views, then YouTube pushes it harder. So they'll push it on to people's suggestions a lot more. And what'll happen is more people will all of a sudden start seeing it all over, like people that don't normally see my stuff. So then they'll start subbing. So if you can get that ratio to keep going up, then it just like all of a sudden, like you'll go from say getting 300 subs every 28 days to 1,000 subs every 28 days. So it's more like a time frame than like a specific video. I've heard good things about the Mac 2, not my cup of tea, as I'm like knives with blades longer than 3 inches. Everybody's got the thing. Um, right. But yeah, it's you got to play the algorithm to an extent, you know. Why have a channel if you're not gonna? Random debate. Buddy of mine was taking a poop on my liking towards 154 cm. Said no, true knife guy would take it over just about any other steel. Said true knife guy would wait. No true knife guy would take it over. 154 cm is a great steel. I personally like other steels more, but not all steels, but it has great edge retentions. It's one of the better budget steels you could get. CPM 154. I'm not a big fan of it personally. It just gets too slick. That's my biggest deal with it. It just gets too slick. You have to sharpen it at a low grit in order. I just recently did some, right? Like the other day. And same thing. It's like if I went to 600 grit, it was as if I just put a 2000 grit edge on it. Not saying how shiny it was, but how much bite the edge had. It just doesn't make sense. It's like you have to sharpen it at a very low grit. I wound up sharpening it at like 400 grit, and it felt like 1,000 grit edge. So that's just that's CPM 154. 154 CM is different. The 154 CM 600 grit, holy shit, it takes a nasty sharp edge. But I think because it's a powdered version that I can't even think of wording right now, but like it's just like the mixture is just so fine grained. The grain of it is so fine that like the carbides aren't like big enough to like poke out when you're sharpening, so you don't get that real level of bite that you get from 154 cm. Because 154 cm, holy shit, takes a great medium grit edge. Um, what grit do you prefer on 14C? So 14C, like in my opinion, takes any edge. That's kind of the beauty of it. Like you can go low grit, medium grit, high grit. Now there are going to be some cases where it's a softer heat treat, right? And usually you're going to see that on like I'm not going to say no name brands, but like I hate to even call them this, but like the lower name brands, you know, the ones with the least amount of respect or attention, or like that just don't have a big name basically. They'll usually do it a little bit softer, and you can still get a hell of a mirror edge on there. Very sharp, very, very fucking sharp. But the difference between that and like say Civivis that are doing it at like 61 HRC, night and day difference. Like it's all like Civivis 14C28N right now, like the mirror edge is similar to like a K390 mirror edge. It gets so sharp. It's like ridiculously sharp. Um, but even at a medium grit, same thing. And it's easy to get to. That's another thing. A lot of steels, and this is kind of the big difference between like some other steels that are easy to get to it. If it's easy to sharpen, easy to get to a polish, usually it doesn't have a lot of bite once you get there because it's so easy. It's just like it's almost like it polishes too good. Like kind of like AEBL. It's kind of like that. Like it's so easy to polish, but it doesn't have any bite once you get there. But 14C is the exact opposite. It's like it's easy to get there, and holy shit, is it sharp when you get there. I'm sharpening the riffle right now, and damn, it's so sticky sharp. Right. And that stuff, like if Civivi continues to use that steel and do the same heat treat, which it seems like they're doing it pretty consistent, because I've done, I don't know, like four knives of their 14C28N, all of them seem the exact same. So, which seems like it's being pretty consistent. So if they continue that, holy shit, like, do they have something coming? Because people love it. First of all, they can give it to us at a really good price. And I'd rather personally me, I'd rather see that way more than D2. I'd rather see that way more than just about any other budget steel. Um, and it's so tough. That's another thing. It's a tough steel. So like their fixed blades, what was that? The Elementum fixed blade? Why did they put D2 on it? They could have did the 14C, which makes even more sense than D2 because 14C is tougher than D2. It might not hold, well, let me be clear. It depends on the D2, right? Because D2 should hold a better edge than 14C. Should. But let's be real. It's most likely not going to. So you're going to get 14C with similar edge retention, but it's way tougher, easier to sharpen, and it's good at a polished edge because D2 is finicky with a polished edge. But yeah, man, it's crazy how sticky 14C gets. Thanks for another great live. Oh man, thank you. Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate the donation, man. So would you rather use 14C instead of yes. Yes. Don't get me wrong. Kaiser's N690 is really good. It's very similar. And they're doing a good job on their N690 because like even I got some right here actually. Right here. Like this one's got a mirror polished 5,000 grit, super, you probably can't see it because it's camera, very sticky. I mean, it's stupid sharp, but besides that, it looks really good. It polished really good, but it's very similar to the 14C, but I personally like the 14C a little bit better. It's tougher. That's one thing. It's going to be tougher, which tougher is going to help you a lot. With a lot of people don't consider toughness with folding knives because they think of it like, well, that's for fixed blades, right? It's for fixed blades. You got to be tough on fixed blades. But they never take into consideration the abuse that they do on their knives, like when they hit a table or something, when they're cutting something or dropping it or whatever, right? You know, toughness does matter even with a folding knife. I'm not saying it's the most important thing. I think edge retention is going to be the most important thing for the most part. But yeah, I'd rather have the 14C. Oh, I see another donation. Hey, Seth, thank you, man. Sup, bro? Check DMs after live. And I see Stas is in here. Thanks to him, I got the Wii Spirit. Amazing. And because of you, the Migaron Pagos. Another awesome. Yeah, the Spirit. Oh, I almost got one of those. I think I might still. That thing does look awesome. Thank you for the donation. I still have that money sitting over at Knives. What the hell is it called? I can't even think of the name of it, but that knife place, I got like $220 sitting over there. I still haven't picked the knife out. What the hell did that say? I stabbed the inside of my fridge with my pointy sabenza. Nothing happened to the knife. Right, and little things like that, you know, toughness is going to play a big part with that. When you smack something by accident, when you hit something by accident, the like, because you guys ever notice, like, you like, say you can call it a mirror edge or any edge, you just sharpened it, you haven't cut that much, and then you run your nail down your edge, and you're like, there's chips in it, and it feels like it's like, how the fuck did I get a chip in my edge? And you're like, I just sharpened, I barely cut 15 feet of cardboard. A lot of times that's the toughness. So not every time, because sometimes you can smack something and it doesn't matter how tough your steel is, it's gonna fuck up. But a lot of times it's just the edges. Maybe it is a little too hard, or it's not that tough of a steel. Sometimes that type of steel doesn't take a great fine edge. That's why, like with Maximet takes a hell of a polished edge. A hell of a polished edge. It gets so sticky, it's nasty. But that's the problem with it, though, is you'll use it a little bit, and then you'll notice there's like little nicks in the blade. And it's because the edge starts like chipping away when it's very, very fine. Don't get me wrong, it takes a fantastic polished edge, very, very wicked sharp. But it gets these little tiny microchips in it, but at a lower grit, it doesn't seem to get it. That's a good one. Oh, is M390 is a bigger failure than D2. It can be. I do think some companies are going to do, or I think in the beginning, and if you got older knives in it, and just because you just bought it recently doesn't mean it's an older knife. It just depends on the knife, how many they made, how many were on the shelf, right? You could buy a knife right now that was made 3 years ago, but I think they did improve it a little bit in the beginning. I think because remember, we haven't been using M390 that long. We really haven't, especially on a production level where everybody's using it like they are. So they didn't really know quite what they were doing with it at first. Then they started getting called out because people were finding that it wasn't doing as advertised. It wasn't doing like it was supposed to. And then we had the cut testers really calling it out. And then everybody realized, like, holy shit, like I paid all this money for this and it can't even do what they say it does. But so they started improving it. And just like with any steel, when a company starts dealing with it at first, it's not going to be as good as after they perfect it. But I don't know if it could ever be on a consistent level like other steels, like say 14C. It can never be on a consistent level because it's not made for that kind of heat treat. It's just not. Like, it's made to be heat treated in small batches. You can't expect a large company that makes thousands of knives to be able to heat treat in little tiny batches like that, like Medford, right? Medford heat treats what, one, two, three blades at a time. That's why his knives cost so much. So it's harder for them to do. So it's like, yeah, we can probably get the most potential out of them being able to do 20 knives at a time, or blades, I should say, 20 blades at a time. But then what is the best it can be like that, you know? M390 is touchy to heat treat. Production wise, it is really hit or miss. Even Mike Emler talked about it. He says he got some and was going to try because he was going to make some. And he was talking about how finicky it was, even him trying to just heat treat one, right? Or two, however many it was. But I'm saying, like, it wasn't a large production scale of, blanks or knives that he was doing. He was just doing a few. And he said he wound up having to throw it away. So he wound up wasting the money buying the shit. And it was just, he wasn't, and it's not that it probably didn't heat treat. It's just it wasn't up to the standards he was wanting to bring to the knife he was making. And that that makes it where it's like, fuck, man, that's a big loss, because the time and everything, then the money for the steel's not cheap. So yeah, it's kind of touchy. And then that's why you wonder why custom knife makers use the steels they use, right? A lot of people will hear them bitch. And I'm not saying there's not knife makers that don't use the crazy steels, because there's some incredible heat treaters out there. But you'll notice there are a lot of custom knife makers that use the same steels. They'll be using ABL, CPM 154, CTS XHP. They'll use these steels that have a better, just they just heat treat easier. They're easier to deal with. They're easier to grind. It's less money to grind them. All the different little details. There is some good M390 and some, yeah, absolutely. I've got good D2. I've got some D2 that it's fucking amazing. Like, but it also shows when I get that stuff how bad my other D2 is. And then you're like, because I have some D2, man, it's like extraordinary. And it's like, holy shit, man, this thing outcuts my S30V, and it's just really good. But then you'll get some other D2 and it's like, is this even fucking D2? It's just the way it is. No heat treat on cobalt because it's not steel, but I'm curious how to go about touching it up and sharpening it. On cobalt, I have no idea. I have no idea. I, I'm confused. I don't know. I'll be honest. My two kitchen knives from Tucson 14C are so sharp, they scratch way too easy though. Do you mean the finish or the edge? Because that's one issue with their finish from Tucson is on their Sandvik steels is that it scratches so easily. To me, that's a problem with the finish they're putting on it because so some satin finishes, that's why I like a heavy satin because a heavy satin, when you're say cutting with it, the scratches are never bigger than the satin finish. Excuse me. So like 300 grit, right? 300 grit. That's a nice scratch. So if you put a 300 grit finish on your satin finish, you're less likely to put scratches on that because scratches are never going to be bigger than the satin finish. But now if you have, say, a 1500 grit satin finish, of course scratches are going to show because fucking everything scratches bigger than 1500 grit. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like the particles in cardboard or in food or wherever are always going to be bigger than that satin finish. Now, yes, if you use an ultra hard steel like M390 or something like that that's so hard it doesn't scratch easily, well then yeah, of course it's not going to scratch as easily, but 14C isn't that. So when you have that satin finish like that, yeah, of course it's gonna scratch up easily. But that's with most steels though, with that high of a satin. It's kind of like a mirror polish. You get a mirror polish, and then you're gonna get scratches. If you use that motherfucker, you're gonna get scratches. That's why I like stone wash or heavy satin finishes on any steel. Just works better. Didn't I see a donation? You can. All right. Chicago 23, thank you, man. Thanks for your help. Just bought TLT Trading exclusive Griptilian M390 and carbon fiber handles. Awesome, man. That's badass. Hell yeah. My favorite version of the Griptilian, man, is the sheep's foot version. The sheep's foot version is so badass. So badass. I love that knife. Even better if you put a hollow grind on that bitch. That knife with a hollow grind is just killer. Kind of like this. All right. This has a hollow grind. Yeah. Sasa says you can use diamond on dendritic cobalt. However, it will wear your stones quicker. There's your answer. How do you feel about Riet's M390? I like Riet. I think Riet does a good job with their M390. I think their worst case scenario, it's just good. I've never really experienced it bad, but I did a video on this where I had two Riet M390 steels. One was fucking phenomenal, and the other one was just okay. So there's still going to be differences. It's not like you're going to say, "Oh, Riet's is great, so all the knives I get from Riet and M390 are going to be great." It's just not possible. So you're going to have good, and I'm not going to say bad because, when I say bad, people think the steel is bad. And I'm not saying that. It's a good steel still. It'll still hold a great edge. It'll still take a great edge. But the difference between a great heat treat and a good heat treat is massive, right? That's why I'm not going to say it's bad because it's not bad. Like if like their good stuff, it's not bad. It's just their good stuff is really good. I could feel it. And I explained it in that video that I knew right when that steel hit the stone that it was good. I could feel it. My first swipe, well, maybe two swipes across the stone, I could tell this is some hard shit. It felt really good. It deburred really good. It cut so fast on the stone, like it just went so smooth. But then the other one wasn't like that. It was more like I was pushing the steel. It didn't feel like my diamonds were just cutting the steel off. It felt more like it was like just slowly removing it. So that meant it was a little softer. So, but it wasn't bad though. But it's just, I think they're doing a pretty good job compared to other companies though. Because some other companies you're going to deal with good and bad versus good and great, The Terraventium by Terrain 365 is a cobalt. Oh, that's what you were talking about. They claim it doesn't need heat treat because it's not steel, but claims to have a very to the edge. I haven't dealt with it, so I have no idea. But yeah, I've seen some videos on it. I just don't know about it. I've never sharpened it or anything. I'd be interested in wondering how it did sharpen because it seems like some of these claims, not talking about them, but other companies that have claimed things have been pretty difficult for people to sharpen. But I don't know. Just the tip, cue ball. Just the tip. Never had anyone explain this properly. What the fuck is a gravity knife? A gravity knife is gonna be a knife like okay, so supposedly like the button lock elementum would be like a gravity knife. It doesn't have a deployment, so they say that if you can swing it out, let me get a knife that'll swing out. If you can swing it out, some people say that's a gravity knife because you can just swing it out, but most people say that's not a gravity knife, right? So it's a knife like a balisong would be considered like a gravity knife, you know, as you can swing it out. It can just fall out. There's no locking mechanism. There's nothing locking it in closed position. But that's why I don't think the Elementum button lock really counts as a gravity knife because it does have a deployment button. But once you hit that button, it does swing out. So that one's kind of like on the fence with you're just going to, you know, it's going to be on the fucking officer, basically. But that's what a gravity knife is. Something that doesn't lock in place when it's closed and it just can fall open or swing open like a balisong. Right. And that's why I think it's going to be like where it's going to be up to the. I don't think it winds up being that either, but I could see where an officer that doesn't understand the law very good on gravity knives and what they specifically are could try to claim it is. A microtech with a a microtech with a broken lock. Exactly. Exactly. Think OTF without a spring. I took apart one time back in the day and I fucked it all up. Not a microtech, it was just some cheap one. But yeah, it was like that where I could fling it out. In certain places, an axis lock would be considered a gravity knife. Yeah. I think in certain places, anything would be considered a gravity knife that's not a lockback. Anytime it's an officer's discretion, well, odds are ain't a good thing, is it? Right, exactly. If it's up to them, your odds aren't that good. And I've definitely been in many situations where they try to twist and turn things into something it's not. And they try to get you to admit that they're right. Because if they can do that, then you're admitting guilt. And if you admit guilt, you are fucked. That's why I always say don't say shit, man, because they will manipulate you into saying some shit. I watched a video earlier where the cop walked up, right? They had like the dude's buddy behind like the car talking to him, and the other officer was walking up to check the back seat, right? So the guy's sitting in the passenger seat in the front, but he has his phone and he's like holding it like this, videotaping him. The back door's open. The cop walks up and throws a fucking baggie in there like that. And the guy goes, hey, what'd you just throw in my car? And he's like, I'm videotaping you. And the cop just goes, I'm videotaping you too. So what's up? That's all he said. And then he takes the phone and goes like this into the back seat. You can see the bag clearly on the fucking seat. Then it's like the cop literally walked up and threw a dope bag on his back seat. And you see it clear as day, like clear as day. And it's like, damn, man. Ain't you got enough people that you can bust already that you ain't got to, do that shit? But you're going to have some crooked ones out there, just like you're going to have some good ones out there. I mean, just like with anything, right? Yeah, if they're part of the discussion, you're off on the wrong foot. Yeah, for sure. I had a cop tell me no matter the details of the knife, call it a letter opener, any tool except a knife or a weapon. And a cop telling me no matter the details of the knife, call it a letter opener. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Don't call it a knife, call it a letter opener. Yeah. If I want you to sharpen something, how can I contact you? I'm not putting my knives through torture. Okay, just hit me up on Instagram. That's the best way. Neevesknives on Instagram, or you can hit me up on email, jrneve@gmail.com. All my videos at the bottom of the description have all the links to contact me. In Canada, the border has a different law than the actual country. Damn. Story time. All right, so let's do some story time. So I was gonna tell a story about I don't know if I told this story or not before. I think I might have like talked about it a little bit, but it was after I had a warrant for a while. So I had a warrant and around this time they were probably chasing me for like a year, maybe give or take, right? Give or take, they were chasing me for a year. So I was like a fugitive. I had skipped court and all kinds of shit, and I had like a warrant off my arrest for like 250,000 or something like that, like a crazy amount. And so they're wanting me bad. And I had already gotten away from them 3 times where they were literally chasing me, like had me, but didn't catch me because they couldn't catch me. And so I was like, it was getting scary at this point, right? Like that they're gonna catch me soon. It's only a matter of time, right? Matter of time. Well, so I'm at my house, right? Stupid. Shouldn't be at my house, right? I'm at my house, which they don't have a warrant to come in. And I know that. They can't come in my house without seeing me 100%. And they had already came in once. And I actually got away from them coming into my house. I told that story before. But this time they didn't come and knock on the door or nothing. So what they did was they snuck up. They snuck up around my house. And I was sleeping on my couch. And I had a ladder next to my house, and I had a split level house. So I'm on the second story, and there was a ladder outside, next to my house. And the cops snuck up to my house, a gang of cops, like, I don't know, gang, but like a few of them, right? And they took the ladder and they quietly picked it up, put it on my house. And super quiet too, because I am not a heavy sleeper. And they quietly walked up the ladder and then seen me through the window sleeping on my couch. And fucking he starts banging on the window and has his gun pointed at me. And right when I woke up, like my first thought was I could still get away. All right. My first thought was like, they ain't got me yet. All right. But I didn't end up running again. This time I was like, it's been too many times. Like I'm at that point to where they're going to hurt me. Right. This time might lead to a bad time. So I said, all right, fuck it. And I put my hands up, but they were expecting me to run because I had already gotten away so many times that they didn't want to take their chances with me, I guess, so to speak. And but they didn't have the warrant to kick in my door, but he starts telling the officer to kick in my door. And I'm like, no, don't do that. I'm coming down, right? I'm coming down. And they didn't start kicking the door, but as soon as I opened the door, fucking bam, guns in my face. I had a taser at me, and I basically, I say this, I let them arrest me, but they arrested me. But I did have one little option where I could have probably gotten away, but I didn't take it, and I wound up going to jail. But yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I can still get away. Exactly, and that's where my mind was, because, like I said, it was probably 2 weeks before that they had seen me, and I got away like so fast that because I had a hiding spot planned, and they sent a dog in and everything, could not find me for the life of them. So I wound up getting away, and it was as if I did a magic trick on their ass. So they were so pissed after that. And then it was only like a week later, I beat them on foot with dogs chasing me. So since those three situations happened back to back to back, they were like done. They were so ready to catch me every day. They were showing up at my house and like surrounding it and searching everything. They were trying to catch me really bad, but they wound up catching me that day. But like I said, once the guy seen me in the window with the gun and everything, I just gave up. Like, all right, all right, all right. Yeah, exactly, exactly. They definitely had their hands full. And then what was funny was that because of that one chase, the not the one where they came in to the house, but the one where I got away on foot and they had the dogs chasing me. When I did get arrested, the one officer, I guess he like had like a reputation of never losing a foot chase ever. So he wanted to meet me. And when I got down there to jail, he came up and met me, and talked to me for like 2 seconds or whatever. But they called him on the way to bringing me to jail, saying that they got me because he was so pissed that that was like his first loss. And, obviously everybody has egos, right? So the cop definitely has an ego that he had never lost a foot chase. Let alone with dogs. So it pissed him off so bad, but he gave me credit though. It wasn't like he was mad when he seen me, right? It's not like he beat my ass for doing that. Like he was laughing about it. Like, you're the first one, motherfucker, so it was definitely a hell of a chase. And I wound up getting a call that time from my sister, and she was just worried about me. And she's like, I just want to make sure you're okay. I heard you ran from the cops. I heard they have the dogs chasing you or whatever, right? And my phone was about to die, and I said some smart ass shit. I said, how did I say it? I said something like, I said they can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. That's what I said. Stupid shit. So now she reminds me every once in a while. She's like, okay, gingerbread man. But another story, this is a real quick one. This happened, Breeze actually knows the people I was with during this. Breeze wasn't with us on this one, but he definitely knows everybody I was with. I was real young. I was probably like, I don't even know, 13, 14 or something. And the people I was with were driving, so they were 16, 17, something like that. We're in a station wagon. That should tell them who it was. So we're in a station wagon. We're driving around and we're playing Fox Hunt or whatever. It's where you use CP radios, and you're basically like playing like hide and go seek with CB radios, and you're using the frequency to see how close they are, and you're trying to catch them. And we used to play this around town, where we would, like one car would go and hide, and then you'd try to find them driving around with the CB radios. Anyways, so we're driving around, we're just messing around, and we have a whole like loaded car packed. And one of the people that we were with, yeah, exactly, Breeze, exactly, yeah. So one of the people we were with, we'll call him a Lear, fucking mooned, like he was mooning one of the people in the car that we were in, because we're in a station wagon, but somebody outside the car in a Monte Carlo thought that he was mooning him. Something like that. Like he hung his ass out the window. Maybe it was to one of the other cars, because remember, like I said, we had different cars, and it pissed him off. He thought the dude was mooning him, pulling out his ass, and this guy starts chasing us. And you can like see, because like he's behind us, and you can see when the lights pass him, this guy looks like a fucking psycho. Like he looks crazy as shit. And he's older, we're younger, and a couple of times it looked like he was like showing us a gun, like because he's driving like that. That's what it looked like, and he's in a Monte Carlo, right? Monte Carlos are faster than a station wagon. So dude driving the station wagon knows how to drive though. He knows what's up. So he's taking these corners, like especially once we realized we're being chased. Like this guy wasn't joking. Like he was trying to run us off the road. He was not fucking playing. And at that point, like we didn't mind if a cop pulled us over. Like we're like begging for a cop because this is getting crazy. Like this dude's a nutcase. Like it seems like he's trying to kill us. And we're flying around town. Like, I mean, going as fast as possible down every road and then hitting the corners and just sliding a big ass station wagon around the corners. And he kept catching up because his car is so much faster. So it was like impossible to get away from this guy. Then finally, I don't remember exactly what we did to get away, but we finally like hit a like I don't remember if it was a ditch or what, but we finally got some distance between us and hit a few more corners and wound up getting away. But it was so crazy because we literally drove past the police station. We like any other day, any other time, if you were driving that fast, going around it, them many corners, doing that crazy of driving, you're gonna get pulled over. Like there's no possible way you can go 80 miles an hour down a 30-mile-an-hour road, like sliding around corners for a long time. Like it wasn't like this lasted 2 minutes. This lasted like 20, 30 minutes of doing this. So it's like, where the fuck are all the cops when you need them, right? Like, it's like if we did this any other day, we would have been pulled over by now. And this guy was not giving up. And like I said, like you could see in his face, he was like crazy as fuck. He was ready to kill somebody for seeing a guy's ass. Like he was not playing. But yeah, that dipstick Lear about got us killed at the Cheryl's one night. Dumb as did the same shit in a car in the drive-thru, then got out and kicked the dude's car. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Oh man, the show gets you fucked up, man. You don't know, like you don't know who you're messing with, and you could be messing with the wrong guy on a wrong day, and that's the way it was with that car. It's like that guy was not playing, and he was ready to catch people and kill them. Yeah, good times, good times. I remember at the time, like being younger and not knowing this guy's intentions, like it was scary. Like it was like this fucking guy's gonna, like, if he does catch us, right? And when he catches us, he looks like he has a gun. Like that's what it kept looking like. And so we're not pulling over, right? This fucking guy can be a maniac and just execute us all. But it's like, especially when he's willing to do that, like especially with a car load of dudes, I got like a hair dangling in my face. When a guy's willing to do that, yeah, he's probably got a gun because most people aren't willing to do that, you know. A friend of mine used to carry balloons with paint in his car so he could get away if he had to. No license, third strike situation. Yeah, I know people that used to keep separate plates. I've kept separate plates before. I got caught in a car one time with separate plates. It wound up working out, but I almost got in a lot of trouble though. We used to carry used cell batteries. Used D cell batteries. What, to like throw through a window or something? It's what's up, Bees? Been binging your content. Bees Blades in the house. Time is it? 9:28. So 2 more minutes, guys. We're gonna head out. And like I said, if you guys want to, go over to Mike Emler's. He's about to start his live at his time, 7:30, and my time, 9:30. And Mike just says, I got arrested for throwing bullfrog at the beginning of the story. Fucking shit. All right. I got arrested for throwing bullfrogs off an overpass into cars. If any If anyone comes over to my live feed, reminds me and I'll tell you the story. Definitely go check out that one. I'm definitely gonna have to hear the bullfrog story. The rest of it throwing bullfrogs in cars. That's hilarious. That's funny. Uh how many fucking bullfrogs did you have? That's the question. Why did you have so many bullfrogs? Walking around with a whole bucket full of bullfrogs. Oh, I kind of miss my criminal childhood. Great seeing everyone and hate I was late. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, fun. It's funny to laugh at it now, but at the time, it's not funny, right? I mean, I remember after so many times it being funny looking back, but then every time you're in it, it's not as funny when you're involved. Like it's never funny when you're locked the fuck up. All right, guys, I'm taking off. If you guys want to go check out Mike Emler's channel. Oh man, I wish somebody would have put it in the link really quick. If somebody can possibly put Mike Emler's channel in the link so people can just hit it and go right over there. He's about to go live. Thank you, Joseph. And thank you guys for all the donations. You guys are awesome, man. You guys have no idea. The donations help so much for this channel and help so much just, with everything, because this is not cheap and I do really appreciate it. And here we go. Here is the YouTube channel. And here is, there we go. There's the YouTube channel. Dawn, Aunt Dawn, I love you. Good night. Chicken Toronto, Canada videotaped herself throwing a chair from an apartment building into it. The highway cops found her easy. She uploaded it to YouTube. What a dummy. What a dummy. All right, guys. Peace out. Love y'all. Hit that link. I'll see you guys.